picture, I had come to the conclusion that we couldn't just leave them in Hong Kong indefinitely, and he had already spoken to me about Cambodia, so I talked to Pastor Greg last week, and he was all in on making this announcement in the Prescott Conference and launching them from Hong Kong into Cambodia. I wish all of you could have tuned in to our Serious Men's class this morning when Nick gave one of the most amazing testimonies I've ever heard of just his life, the run-up to his calling. And I think the very best part of his testimony was some of the things that he said about Michelle and her willingness to go with him and to follow him. I mean, moving from America to China to Hong Kong to Cambodia. And they had opportunity to come back to America for R&R if they wanted to. It wouldn't have cost us any more to bring them home as it was to support them in Hong Kong for these last 2 or 3 months. So, but his position was, no, we're going to stay put here, stay connected to Asia, and then when God opens the door, we either go back to China or do something else, and his wife's on board. His wife sees him as a man of God, as a man who hears from God, and she has trust and confidence. And I want to just say to Michelle how much I appreciate and how much I value that. And I'm thinking of doing some kind of a live interview with them in our Sunday evening service as soon as I get to Cambodia, because I want you to see them. I want you to see their spirit, their attitude, and I want you to see the kind of people that we invest in, that are willing to make these kind of sacrifices. It's not easy. You got 3 little girls. Cambodia is a backward country. Google pictures of the city they're going. People ride bicycles. They walk. It's a very backward place. So what we're going to do this morning is we're going to raise $30,000. It's the least we could do. They're going. We're going to raise $30,000. I know we just came out of our conference, but it's been a number of months now. And most of you have given your pledges for that. If you haven't, please do so at the soonest possible occasion. We need all of those pledges coming in, because we do have a lot of expenses coming. The additional expense of probably another somewhere between $30,000 and $50,000 that we're going to have to be sending into Africa so that they can finish that building, and other needs that come up. So we're going to be moving Nick and Michelle and their girls into Cambodia in the next few weeks. They're going to be able to go in right away. There are additional expenses. We have to pay $3,000 per family member. There's 3 girls. You do the math. That's $15,000. That's just to get their visa. And they go in there. They have to get tested for COVID. If they come out negative, we get that money back, quote, unquote. I'm not hedging my bets. We're giving it over to the Cambodian government. We have to trust they're going to give it back. But even if they don't, we're going to do this anyway. And so I want to challenge you to give an offering this morning and to give a pledge. If you don't have the money with you, you can take out your device. I finally got the hang of giving by text. That's what I did all week in Prescott. It's almost too easy. I mean, you could do it while you're driving. Don't. But I mean, it's that easy. Just boom, bang, punch in the number, and then it's out of your account. It's too late to do anything about it. So you can text your offering today. You can give it through our website, or you can give it through our app. We need $30,000 minimum. It'll probably cost, because of that $50,000 visa upfront money, maybe upwards of $50,000. But I want to challenge you to give large today. Give the largest offering you can possibly give today via your device. If you're here, you can write out a check. If you're at home, you can write out a check and bring it to the church, put it in the foyer box, or come to church tonight to present it. You can write out a check and mail it to our P.O. box number. Like I said, you give the largest offering you can give now, and then write an amount in pledge that you can give by next Sunday. 1 week, an amount that you can give that's the largest pledge you can give. And I know God has radically blessed people financially during this pandemic. And there's wealth and resources. And yes, some of it is for you to bless you. There's nothing wrong with that. You need a new car, you need a bigger house, get it. God provides you with the finances for that. But don't forget that God gives us wealth to give to support the work of God. And there's the great benefit and privilege. Remember what the scripture says, beware of covetousness, for a man's life does not consist of the things which he possesses. Possessions don't make you happy. They don't bring the fulfillment. Giving does. Sending a couple like this into the harvest field does. I want you to look at this quote that I stumbled across just this morning. If you can put that up for me. This shouldn't be, but it is. Approximately 9% of the world's population is English speaking. So think about that. 9%, small percentage of the world's population is English speaking. 91% non-English speaking. Yet, 90% of the world's Christians are found among the 9% who speak English. That's where 90% of Christians are in English-speaking countries. 10% among the let me back up. 90% of the world's Christians are to be found among the 9% who are English-speaking, and only 10% among the far greater number who are non-English speaking. Put up the rest. Fully 94% of the ordained preachers minister to the 90%. That's 94% of ordained preachers, pastors, evangelists worldwide are in the 9% countries, United States, England, and so forth. And only 6% to the 91%, some 96% of the finances are used to minister to the 90%, and only 4% go to reaching the world. So we try to reverse that in our fellowship. We have, I think, about 400 domestic churches and 2,300 or so churches in 134 countries in the world. That's the way it should be. Nations. That's my vision. That's our burden. When Nick mentioned Cambodia to me, you can take that off, please. When Nick mentioned Cambodia to me, my answer is yes. We will follow men like Nick around the world with wheelbarrows full of money so that they can do what God's called them to do. I want you to bow your heads with me. Bow your heads if you're live streaming. And I want you to think about what kind of an offering you can give. There may be some who could give $5,000 or $10,000 right now. You could go to your device and boom, it's there. There's others that could give smaller amounts, but it's a great sacrifice for some to give 100 or 50 even. Maybe you don't have anything right now, but by next week you could put together an offering to bring. I want you to make a pledge. You're going to pledge, and they're going to put the phone number up. It's a number you'll see on your screen, 210-544-9811. If you don't have your offering, or you're going to give an offering and pledge, I want you to text your pledge to this phone. It's a special phone. We used it in our conference on Thursday night when you all made pledges, and we're using it today. If you don't have your offering with you and you want to let us know how much you're going to pledge, we don't need your name, just an amount, that's all. You text it to that number and then go back to bowing your head right now. We'll leave that number up right now, but I really do want you to pray. We invest in people. There are Cambodians that are going to be in heaven because of what we do here and now. Because of Nick and Michelle's willingness to go to this country. We're not going to see them for another year and a half. They can't come back this next conference. They'll come back conference after that. They know that. Going to be a while before they come home. They're moving to a backward country. They're stepping into the unknown. They're taking the risks. We're not. We're giving, though. And I want you to measure what you're giving with their sacrifice. Is there something you could do without? Something you planned on buying, but it's not necessary? You could give that money. You have resources maybe stored or saved. You could give a portion of or all of that. Or you just have access to some money. I want to challenge you to give the largest offering you can give today. You either give it this morning, give through your device this morning, or sometime today or tonight, bring a check. And then on top of that, you make a pledge that you can bring by next week. Let's do this. Let's send Nick and Michelle to Cambodia with abundance of resources to reach that nation for Jesus. Father, I thank you so much for what you're doing. I thank you for this church, this great people. What great people you have saved and raised up in this congregation, Lord, that I'm so grateful for. Even those who think that they don't matter that much or they don't make that much of a contribution or nobody notices them, God, we do. You notice them. We notice them. We're grateful for every member. Every person has a contribution to make, and we're thankful for every precious soul that has value before you, O God. I pray for this offering, Lord, that you would even raise more than the 30,000 that we need. Let there be an abundance of money that flows into the house of God to evangelize the world, and who knows what else we may be able to do between now and our next conference. What other needs are going to come up? Lord, I pray that you touch every man, every woman, every person, Lord, to give the largest offering they can give this morning and today, and then pledge the largest amount they can bring by next Sunday, and designating that specifically to Cambodia to advance the work of God. We thank you for what you're doing in Jesus' precious name, and all God's people said, amen. So if you